after I turned off the camera there, I made a smart decision, hopefully. I thought, you know what, got all this pulled apart, got some 18 gauge speaker wires here, marked one set with red and silver, not for any particular reason other than if the red or silver comes off, hopefully the other color will still be there, so I'll be able to differentiate the ends there. But anyway, that gives me 4 separate wires coming into my switch box and going out over here, and so later on, if I need to hook up additional accessories, like if I'm wanting to have separate controls for the auxiliary lighting, fog lighting, that sort of stuff, the wires will be there. I'll just need to hook up the switches. I'll already have my key power because it's there, and I'll have my hot, battery only power here, so I'll have basically all the options covered. So I thought I'd do that. So now it's just a fishing process. Probably able to fish most of it with these 2 tools, just by pulling them through as we go. But if you've seen some of my other wiring videos, I do have fish sticks if I need to. But like I said, I think that this particular one will work with just the tools that I brought. And obviously, whenever you start fishing wires, make sure you start fishing the right end through so that you don't, it'd be easy to start here and pull this through and then realize, no, this is supposed to stay up here. So this is the end we're going to start with, and I'm just going to route it basically around here. And so I probably don't want to pull this end through a whole lot more, because I do want to have some ability to move these wires around when I'm installing them into the box. Except for right now, they're not going to be hooked up to anything, so I may just tuck them back there. But now that I've got that around there and I haven't broken any of these wires, things are looking better. And the basic rule of wiring: it will get tangled on everything within 50 miles. That's my general rule. So when you're trying to fish, if you're not wanting this to get split, for example, around, let's say like this, then it will do that no matter what you do. So I'm wishing I'd have made this a little more fish friendly. I may just tape this together real quick. So the thing about this, when it gets to the final destination, I need to be able to get this black tape off. So it's kind of a fine line between taping it tight enough that it'll hold and loose enough that you can get it off easily once you're done fishing this. So I am going progressively looser toward the end here. And I'll leave this at the end, so hopefully I'll be able to pull that off of there. But now that I want to fish a little bit easier through some of these spots. See the wire comes out in the glove box here. With that, we're done. We can put this back on, at least for now. I need to tape off this end, because if I'm leaving this sitting in there, when I hook it up down there, there's always a chance of that touching the ground. The output side obviously is fine because it's not going to be hooked up to anything, but That'll eventually be hooked up to a hot wire, and I don't want that rattling around in my dash. So it's ready for me when I'm ready to put the box on. I'm not going to be able to do that today. So if you squeeze the sides of your glove box, it will allow it to drop down as long as there's nothing else caught on it. And some of you have asked, my glove box had pretty major holes in it, so I put Kydex to fill those. So hopefully you can see there, this is Kydex. And what you do is you heat it up and it gets real flexible, and then you lay it over in the shape that you want it. So like I just laid it on there, let it cool, and then piece up there just cut. And I think I just RTV'd this into place, and it's worked fine. And, you know, Kydex is as tough a plastic as the glove box is made of, so it works great. But up under here you can see where that wire comes through. So basically we're going to run it across there and then down. So you can see up in here, I've just zip tied it to some of the factory wires there, and squeeze this glove box back in. You see my wires now come down here, and so I'll just tuck them behind here for now. Like I said, it'll probably be another week or two before I can finish this project, but at least the hard part of fishing the wires is done, and hooking them up is real simple. Okay, we're back at this. Weeks gone by. The forecast today is supposed to be mid-70s, and believe it or not, it's supposed to drop to 20 degrees tonight. So we're gonna see a crazy swing, and then tomorrow the high is supposed to be in the 30s, and then it's supposed to get back up into the 60s in about 3 or 4 days. So crazy time of year, December in Texas. I'm gonna take off this ugly thing here on the dash and put in a hopefully not quite so ugly box in its place. And then what I did is I reused the screw that they had. So this is the screw that was in the dash when I bought the car. Alright, I enlarged the hole, and we will start fishing all these wires back through now. Okay, I decided on a 6-switch box, and I just kind of wanted to show you. I did this off camera just because it's never quite as smooth as what you'd like for camera purposes. But basically I took the ruler and I measured the box and tried to figure out optimal placement for switches, and you see I spaced them an inch apart. So what I did was I took this and ran it. Basically, I think I had the ruler the other way, but you get the idea. So I put the marks basically an inch apart on that, and then did the same thing going the other direction with the rulers there. So those will be pilot holes. I'll drill small pilot holes there. Don't worry about that extra dot. I had this in the wrong spot when I did that one. So 6 holes. Start with pilot holes, then I'll drill the big holes, and then I'll put the switches in. Like I said, I haven't decided if I'm going to go ahead and put the other two, even though they won't be hooked up. I think I already have 4 that are ready to go, because I've got the one that cancels the front parking sensors. I'm going to have the dash cam power override. I'm going to have the front fog or driving light, and then I may have another front type light. So I should have at least 3, if not 4 already. So I haven't decided if I'm going to just drill the holes and mount the 3 or 4, or if I'm going to go ahead and do 6. But I'm probably just going to do only the ones I need for now, and then the dots are on there, and I could probably put labels for what the switches are in the meantime, so it'll hide the dots, so it won't look quite so ugly. But I'm not going to do this on camera, but like I said, I'm going to drill pilot holes and then drill the full-size holes and mount the switches in this box. And then inside the box, I'm going to have to drill a big enough hole to get all those wires up through, and I'm going to go eyeball this on the car so that I can see roughly where it's going to sit, where the wires are coming through, so that, for example, I'm not going to just drill the hole in the center necessarily, because this box may not mount up in line with the hole. So for example, if this is the hole coming from the dash, if the box is here, then the hole needs to be somewhere in here. So I'm going to go eyeball that before I drill this hole too. You're going to see there's 2 extra wires here that weren't here before. Typical, I forgot that I had a switch that turned off the parking sensors in the front by virtue of it not sensing that I'm hitting the brakes. And I had that switch just very loosely hanging in here, kind of as a test, and I totally forgot about it. So I found those wires, brought them up here, so those are going to be in my switch box too. So these are my extras. Those will just be taped off in here. This ground here, I'm not going to need it right now, so I'm going to shrink wrap it and leave it hanging in there just in case I ever do need it. And then that'll be hooked up to the one switch for the parking, and then our camera and the front fog light. I'm going to have to put another connector on this one and connect it to the switch. Well, I'm not happy, but your handy dad is human. So, like I said, I decided to drill 6 pilot holes, and I figured I would put labels over these to label those for now, but that way the holes are there for if I ever add more switches. And I didn't have the plate really secured when I drilled, so instead of drilling the big hole straight through, it grabbed this and twisted it, and when it did, you see it scarred up the plastic there. The other 2 holes didn't come out a whole lot better, but it is what it is. I'm not going to go buy another one of these for now. I'll live with it. Like I said, not happy, but you know, I'm human and sometimes this sort of stuff happens. So we'll connect all of these. Like I said, I left the ground for expansion later if I ever need to have something grounded. I've got 4 more output wires there that can stay, and then I've got another source key on and for hot power. So this is a lot better done than my first very recklessly and quickly done.